That's not going on. I live here.
They have broken in and they are stealing my home. You shouldn't be trying to steal my house. Yes, you are.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
A picture's worth 1,000 words. The video is like 10,000 pictures mashed into one.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
The push for change came after a series of 7 on your side investigations.
Brian, anything to say about what happened today?
This time, the accused squatter was in handcuffs, appearing before a judge in court.
Where's the lease? Do you have the lease or the paperwork that he claims he had?
Sir, a disgrace.
We have work to do to help those people.
That's a big problem.
It's a huge problem.
Squatters do not have the rights as tenants.
It's a simple change, but you say it could have a big impact. A huge impact.
Our system is broken.
For years, squatters took advantage of a legal loophole that allowed them to live in homes and apartments that didn't belong to them. We spent the past few months investigating, and our work paid off in the form of a new anti-squatter law. You're going to see exactly what it means for you and people you know, how to protect your own property, and how our reporting opened the floodgates for more new laws that could soon be on the way. But first, a look back at how it all started.
I have video of you.
Figure out the situation. Yeah, but they're in my house, man.
Relax.
No.
To understand how this day ended,
We need the police right away.
with multiple 911 calls and arrests, you have to start at the beginning.
Adele, the hardest question is, how do you say your name?
We met Adele and DeLauro in March outside the home she inherited from her parents in Flushing, Queens. She was in the process of selling it,
No, he locked it.
but she had been locked out. She claimed squatters moved in the middle of the night and refused to leave.
What's it like being here knowing you can't go inside of your own home?
It's enraging. It really is.
In New York, anyone who claimed to live somewhere for 30 days had rights, including squatters.
By the time that someone does their investigation and they do their work and their job, we'll be well over the 30 days, and this man will have stolen my home. And now she's back.
Just after wrapping up our interview, a woman showed up.
What are you doing in the house? Are you renting this house? Why are you here?
She unlocked the front door, saw our cameras, and took off.
It's open. Let's go in the house. It's open.
Adele and her daughter, with property deed in hand, went inside.
This is my furniture. These are my curtains.
She didn't just find her belongings inside.
There's a man sleeping right there. Get out of my house.
She found 2 men.
How long have you lived here?
I moved in about 2 days ago.
They've called the police on me, and I've called the locksmiths. I didn't come in illegally. The door was open.
Police started interviewing neighbors and looking for documents.
Do you have something that shows that you've been here for more than 30 days?
They took the man who told me he had been renting for 2 days out in handcuffs
They got one out.
and escorted the other guy off the property.
Now you're afraid to come out.
I'm not coming out. This house is empty. This is my home. My locksmith is on the corner waiting to change my locks. And that's not fair. It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, should be having to go through this.
How you doing?
Minutes later, a locksmith showed up, but police gave her a warning before they left.
I may end up in handcuffs today if this man shows up here and says that I have illegally evicted him. I said to them, let him take me to court the way I've been told to take him to court. But today, I'm not leaving my house.
Less than 10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed,
That's not going on.
the man who claimed to be the one actually leasing the house showed up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police already took off the property.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door, broke through myself and my daughter to get in here. This guy just forced himself into my house. Yes, he did. And so did you. You broke through the front door.
Officer.
The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They considered this a landlord-tenant issue, and by law, it had to be handled through housing court, not police. A court system where it could often take 2 years for a resolution.
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
I don't own this.
Exactly,
Yes.
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to the as you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He said he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Proof. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
This is-
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
Being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed
That's
is
what I was
current
told
and
already.
legal.
Arrested for unlawful eviction. In New York, you can't change the locks, cut off the utilities, or remove someone's belongings, or the homeowner can be arrested.
So how does this all end then? When do you leave?
The way it ends is either she pays me my money that I put into the house, pay me the money, and I'll leave, or send me to court, and we deal with the judge in court. It's that simple.
It's not that simple, and Adele's story doesn't end there. The arrest our photojournalist captured on camera went viral. The images have been seen and shared by people around the world, causing hundreds of similar tips to be called into the 7 Inner Sight investigators. It also caused prosecutors to take a closer look at Adele's case and for lawmakers to change state law.
I'm the homeowner, and I'm being taken out in handcuffs.
After Adele's arrest, we received more than 100 messages from viewers saying they're in a similar situation. From a family dealing with a squatter since November of 2019, another since last April, and in one case, it took 25 months to get the squatters out.
These are the laws on the books.
Our investigation sparked rallies across the area, from Queens
We have to get rid of the 30-day rule. The 30-day rule is insane.
to Brooklyn, calling for change.
What more needs to be done to protect property owners?
Write a bill that does not give squatters rights. Millions and millions of people have watched your video and look at this and say, how could this be happening? The world is upside down.
And that's what happened. Lawmaker
It's becoming more and more a problem.
after lawmaker
We need to make a change.
after lawmaker filed bills to try and prevent squatting from happening.
It's something we absolutely needed to take quick action on.
While lawmakers worked at the state capitol to try and get the legislation passed as part of the new state budget, prosecutors dropped the charges against Adele.
Cameras were rolling when 35-year-old Brian Rodriguez pushed through a door and tried to re-enter a home that he claimed to be renting.
Our original 7 Inner Sight investigation caught the attention of the Queens District Attorney, who launched her own investigation, which leads us here to criminal court today.
Prosecutors charged the accused squatter, Brian Rodriguez, with burglary, grand larceny, and possession of stolen property.
Brian, anything to say about what happened today?
He pled not guilty, walking out of the courtroom with his head and eyes covered. He wasn't as camera shy when we first met him during the standoff with the homeowner.
We have the benefit of time, right? We're lawyers, we're not police officers.
His attorney told the judge Rodriguez is the victim, claims he signed a bogus lease with an unnamed real estate broker. Outside court, we asked him again for proof.
Where's the lease? Do you have the lease or the paperwork that he claims he had?
A disgrace.
That was his attorney's response. His client faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted.
You can't walk into a house that's not yours and claim you have a right to be there. I thank the media for all the attention that they have given to this story and for being here today, because I do think it's an important message to send.
And days later, lawmakers also sent a clear message to squatters.
The bill is passed.
We'll show you what action they took after watching our reports, what it means for you, and later, ways to prevent a similar situation from happening to your family.
The bill is passed.
Both the State Assembly
The bill is passed.
and Senate approved the last-minute changes made to the squatter law.
Our job every day is to inform you, our viewers, and often we make a difference in people's lives, and today we made a huge difference.
Lawmakers say it was the standoff we captured on camera that helped bring support from both sides of the aisle.
Your coverage on Channel 7, a picture's worth 1,000 words. A video is like 10,000 pictures mashed into one.
Which showed what real New Yorkers are going through.
It just really stoked an outrage among New Yorkers, both homeowners and people who dream of becoming homeowners.
They reached a compromise, a small change lawmakers say will have a big impact. They changed the state's property law, stating a tenant shall not include a squatter.
What will this allow police to be able to do moving forward?
My law just makes it very clear that squatters are not tenants.
They're hoping it will make it easier for police to intervene in cases when someone enters a home without permission or legal paperwork, instead of having to take them to housing court.
What are your reactions to the changes made in state law, and how do you think they will impact New Yorkers moving forward?
Well, we put them into state law because it makes sense. And I thank you for your reporting that put a spotlight on the fact that there are people illegally in other people's homes and creating havoc. And so we needed to make sure that our budget, the laws that we introduced just last week, would address this crisis.
While lawmakers say change is on the way, the experts we spoke with said the revisions to property law don't go far enough.
I think that there was such public outrage that they had to do something to satisfy the exposure. I think that this station, I think that you did a tremendous job at trying to hold people accountable, trying to hold the police accountable, trying to hold the politicians accountable. But I don't believe that they actually passed anything with teeth.
With the new law, do you think that police will take more action against people who are trespassing?
It's hard to say because the new law doesn't give the police any tools to do so. Really what the police need, what any officer on the beat needs, is a piece of paper that says who has the right to be here and who doesn't. But there's doubt in the mind of the officer, and the officer just doesn't want to play the role of a housing judge.
On the spot.
On the spot. That's just putting too much pressure on the officer unless you have a very clean, simple method of proof, and unless the officers have been trained in advance.
If police continue to send squatter cases to housing court, the new bill doesn't do anything to change the backups and delays there, where an average eviction case can take 2 years for a resolution.
I think there has to be a vehicle for an expedited proceeding for squatter cases and for other cases, that they can get in front of a judge within 1 to 2 days. They can get full resolution within a week.
The push for change came after a series of 7 on your side investigations.
Even with the law changed, homeowner Adele Andaloro still had a problem.
I'm over the moon about the change in the law. And now I'm just hoping to see that take effect and hopefully be able to get these people out of my house soon.
The judge ordered the accused squatter, Brian Rodriguez, not to go near her or her home, but prosecutors say he rented out rooms to other people.
While prosecutors arrested the man accused of squatting in her home, strangers are still living there.
But after seeing our news update, Andaloro says the Queens DA sent officers to the property the next day and removed them.
This is a very good moment, the moment she hired a locksmith to come and change the locks on her own front door. She now has her own home back. There you go.
There we go.
All right, we're in.
2 months after the standoff started.
How does it feel to be back in your own house?
Amazing. It feels right.
She was finally able to legally enter her own property.
No one ever would have imagined it would have gone that way. So I mean, the cameras were rolling. I think it almost needed to happen that way. Had we not captured it, had everybody all over the world not seen it, I think lawmakers wouldn't have been pushed to act so fast. I think physically seeing a homeowner get handcuffed and taken out of their own home is what pushed everyone over the edge.
And in a matter of weeks, lawmakers changed state law.
Yes.
The governor even said she watched your arrest on camera.
Yes.
What was that like to hear?
I mean, not my best moment, but if it made them pay attention and it made them push to change the law and make this a better situation for others, then I'm okay with it. You can see here, I don't know what was going on. This door's been broken into several times.
She got to see the inside.
They tore up my wall.
Of the home where she grew up.
I have many memories in this house. I love this house. To see it in the state it's in is disturbing, but I'm confident we're gonna get it back to the way it was. This is my older son's bedroom. You can smell, it smells like cigarettes. When we came in to clean it, there was cigarette butts all over the floor. To me, this is like a hotel. Everyone had individual mini fridges in their room, space heaters. It was like a mini hotel. So it's...
But it wasn't a hotel, it was your home.
Right. I want to thank 7 on Your Side. I want to thank Channel 7. I want to thank the Queens DA. Everyone that's just reached out with support and love and kindness, I really, really appreciate it.
You can feel it.
Absolutely.
Not all of the stories we've covered have been resolved as quickly as Adele's. They're often complicated cases.
There shouldn't be a problem, and it becomes a nightmare. A total nightmare.
Some families have been waiting months, even years, to get a resolution in housing court. We'll show you why. Plus, New York City Council members are working on a new law to track how often it's happening. And homeowner Adele says people can learn from her situation.
What do you think that homeowners should do to better protect themselves so they're not in a situation that you were in?
I wake up and I go to sleep about the same thing. When is this guy gonna come out?
Susanna and Joseph Landa bought what they thought was their dream retirement home in Douglaston, Queens.
We're looking to hopefully retire and most of all provide for my son, Alex, who has Down syndrome. He has a disability.
The house is right next door to family members.
I just wanna know that I can die tomorrow when he's next to his brother.
They bought the home and signed the deed back in October.
And then what happens?
The nightmare begins.
They claim they didn't know the house came with something unexpected. A man living in their home who they say refuses to leave.
We couldn't believe it. We could not believe it.
His name's Brett Flores.
They cannot come here early when I'm not here. They have keys. They're the owner.
This is what happened when the Landas tried to enter the home they paid for with an insurance inspector. They say Flores called the cops on them, even though they say they gave him 10-day notice.
He wasn't a renter.
Never.
You didn't sign documents that said, we have a tenant.
Correct.
Court documents detail in Brett Flores' own words why he's there. A signed statement says he was hired by the former homeowner as his caretaker, was paid $3,000 a week, and his employment ended on January 12th of last year when the man died. He claims he has a license to stay in the house from the previous owner.
Mr. Flores, why won't you just move out? Seems pretty simple.
My lawyers are speaking on my behalf.
During numerous court hearings, Flores wouldn't talk to us on camera, but his attorneys claim the Landas agreed to pay him money to help with the sale of the home.
He needs the money to procure adequate housing for his family, and once he gets that money, there's nothing more he wants to do than leave.
The Landas say they offered him money to get out, and he refused to take it. Meanwhile, they've been paying all the bills.
Leaving windows wide open 24 hours.
Including thousands of dollars in utilities.
Very crazy. Our system is broken. And I never would imagine that we have no rights. We have no rights at all. Nothing, zero.
The case has faced many delays in housing court, and both sides are scheduled to be back in court later this month. Some city council members are taking new steps to track how often squatting cases are reported, and the experts say there are 3 things all homeowners should do to protect their property. From a home the FDNY says was set on fire by squatters in Brooklyn, to a woman killed by 2 people police say were squatting inside her Manhattan apartment, to Adele's arrest. There have been some high-profile squatter cases in the news over the past few months, but no one's tracking how often it's happening. Not the police, not the courts.
It's a big problem.
Councilmember Susan Zwang says there has been a rise in complaints in the area of Brooklyn she represents.
Just 3 months, we got phone calls more than a dozen cases in my district alone about the squatting issue in my district.
And you're still getting calls today?
Yes.
State leaders changed the law, stating squatters don't have the same rights as tenants, but some housing advocates are against the changes, worried it could chip away at the rights of everyday tenants.
The data is very clear, so we're not actually seeing an uptick in squatter cases.
We have no data.
Zwang says we don't have data because police aren't required to track squatting cases. The new bill she's filing this month would change that.
So this will show us how many times it's happening or how many police calls.
And also 311 calls, 911 calls, and also HPD calls.
That's not going on.
So when police respond to calls like the one we captured on video, it would have to be categorized as a squatter situation. The mayor has already voiced his support.
There was a reason that squatter laws were put in place, and I think people are starting to exploit what some of those reasons are. And I always get concerned, your largest investment is your home. That's your largest investment.
Saying tenants' rights can be protected while also protecting small property owners.
It's a regular working family people, and they have to pay mortgage every month. And also now they cannot live in their own house. We have work to do to help those people.
While city leaders work to track where it's happening and whether cases are going up or down, the experts say there's work you can do to prevent a similar situation from happening to your family.
Meanwhile, you've been working on ways to protect homeowners from being in this situation.
Yeah, if you've inherited a property, Dan, or if it's your second home, you're just not near it, you're going to be away for an extended period of time. The key to defending yourself in a squatting situation is to prove they shouldn't be there in the first place. Right. You know what I mean? So one of the first things you do, if you're leaving your property, let the police know it's going to be uninhabited. Report it to the local precincts. The goal is have record of proof the house is supposed to be empty. Alert your local precinct or your PD in writing, and then invest in a security or doorbell camera. The smart home tech has become really affordable. You can see who's at your front door. You can say, hey, get out of here. Or then you'll have a video proof of the recording.
So besides the cameras, what else can you do?
You can do this, Bill. Look, this was $3.47 at Home Depot. It is a no trespassing sign. You could put this up in your front door, on your property line, somewhere where you can see it.
What do you think that homeowners should do to better protect themselves so they're not in a situation that you were in?
Well, I know now to make sure that you check up on your property on a regular basis. I've learned through all this is key. You know, I think you go through every day thinking, okay, I can go by when I can, and you know, no, you have to check it regularly. And too, I think Nita Pineda mentioned it, the no trespassing signs. You know, Home Depot is sold out. I went to 3 different Home Depots. I have a keep out sign because that's all I could find. I want to make it clear to anyone that this is not to be entered by anyone other than us.
Squatting isn't just an issue in New York, but the cases are handled differently depending on where you live.
This isn't just an issue in our area, it's an issue nationwide.
Yes.
New York is one of 2 states that recently took action. Florida passed a law in March making it easier for police to remove squatters.
I wouldn't have known about it if I wouldn't have seen articles like yours and news releases like yours.
Senator Keith Perry wrote the newly passed bill there.
Yours is the first one I've ever seen with a lady that was arrested. You got to feel so incredible. You know, you have empathy for this lady and all the other people that you don't capture on film that are going through the same process.
When it comes to the tri-state area, Connecticut laws don't specifically define squatters. They'd have to be taken to housing court for eviction. In New Jersey, there's no policy for dealing with squatters, but a person can be evicted if there's no lease and a landlord-tenant relationship does not exist between the 2 parties.
There are some states that try expedited proceedings where on certain kinds of cases, where for instance, there is no dispute about facts like whether there's a lease, you can put them on the docket and get a sheriff's order much more quickly. Some of those states that have these quicker, more expedited proceedings have seen a drop in what could be called housing court backlog.
Our entire investigation into this issue started out with a single tip from a viewer like you. If you have a story you think needs investigating, let us know, either through email, social media, or by calling our confidential phone tip line. For Eyewitness News, I'm Dan Krauth.